Well, they say poker's all about a game plan. It's about strategy, skill. But throw that all out the window when the cards come down, because it's about guts and nothing more. We love this game. 5 cards, a strong right arm. What more do you need? It's Texas Hold'em. Keep your shoes on, Lucy. There's poker to be played here on the partypoker.net European Open. I'm Jesse May, joined by comedian and avid poker player Norman Pace. Norman, in poker, it's one of the only places you can be a bully and not get kicked out of the schoolyard. Is it important to be one?
I think if you've got the chips, it is. You know, if you want to dominate a table and impose your authority on the other players, then when you've got plenty of chips, put them under pressure. And that's effectively what bullying is, making them make a difficult decision with marginal hands. You can't do it when you haven't got any chips, though, Jesse.
Well, but what about table image? Is there something to be gained from pretending to be a bully, even though you're not actually acting like one?
How do you pretend to be a bully? I don't know about that. Yeah, I think table image is everything. There are a lot of people who start off really tight and then get looser later. But there are also players who come to the table and start bullying you immediately. Devilfish, for example, if he's against inferior players, or people he thinks is inferior, which in fact is the rest of the world, then he will immediately attack them from hand one.
I mean, the devilfish, you know, when it's his big blind, he kind of sits forward and just threatens you. How dare you raise this one here? But beating a bully is a very tough thing as well. And how do you stand up to a bully? Well, one guy who knows, it's called about beating himself, Phil Hellmuth, the former world champion.
Okay. How do you beat the bully at the table? The guy that keeps raising you and raising you and raising you. Every time it's your big blind, he raises. Every time it's your small blind, he raises. He seems to get a lot of raise, and you're sitting there with 9 deuce, 9-4, folding, folding, folding. So how do you beat him? You pay very close attention to what he's doing. You learn by watching the cards he flips over. You have to get a feel for whether he's weak or strong. And then sometime, don't even look at your cards. When he raises, if you think he's weak, you don't even have to look at your cards. You can put in the re-raise. That will stop a bully, a re-raise. You start re-raising him, and he's going to give up his ploy.
Well, the re-raise, says Phil Hellmuth, and that might be effective, but fraught with danger, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing about not looking at your cards, I mean, given a choice between looking and not looking, I think I'd look every time, Jesse.
Poker is about peril, though. There'll be plenty of peril on the table tonight, and bullies as well. Let's see who the bully is going to be and where he's sitting. Well, that's the lineup. Tough table. And we're joined by one of the favorites for that table, all the way from across the pond in Las Vegas, Scott Fishman. Now, Scott, a lot of people, they talk about the World Series of Poker. May not be as well known over here, but you shocked the poker world 2 years ago by winning nearly as many World Series of Poker bracelets as are in all of Great Britain, 2 in 1 year. How big a deal was that?
It was my first year at the World Series, and I kind of made a splash. I was young and emotional and happy, and I mean, it was great for me. Just winning the first one was an incredible experience, and then following it up the next day with the horse title.
And the horse title, considered really the hardest bracelet to win.
Yeah, it's mixed games, 5 different games, and I mean, it's the true test of skill, and you know, I'm happy to have won them, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my career.
Scott, we've been talking about bullying on the show this week.
Okay.
Do you bully? And what do you consider bullying to be at the poker table?
I do bully often. Sometimes I'm very tight. So I'm pretty adaptable, my style in general, and I haven't played with any of the gentlemen that I will be playing with tonight, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bully them or if I'm going to have to take the back seat. But yeah, bullying is raise them, gun them, bluff them, and do it with everything but the cards, the chips and the bets and the bluffs.
Well, best of luck tonight, Scott. Whatever it takes. Well, join us after the break. Norman Pace and myself will be sliding into the saddle and watching this game get moving. Welcome back to the partypoker.net European Open. The table's set, the plates are served, the stemware is ready. So Norman Pace and myself will guide you through the action as soon as the dealers are ready.
What division I like that?
So hard to make any predictions, but this game may have some legs on it. And preparing now for the first hand, button on Nathan Lee, which means first action will be Scotty Fishman. Blinds 1 in 2,000 to start out with, and players beginning with 100,000 in chips. And Scotty's starting off on the tight side, although with Jack Deuce, there's probably no other option.
That's going to be interesting, Jesse, to see who makes the move first of this. Oh, and it's Nathan Lee.
5,000 total.
He's on the button now.
Yeah, Nathan's come to play here. And Dave Finney calling quickly with a better hand in a small blind. Dave Finney, 20 years ago or so, used to be one of the real regulars on the Midlands poker scene. He took a bit of a break, but now he's back with a vengeance.
He looks like a bit of a character to me, Jesse.
He does it. He knows his way around a poker table. That flop is all Nathan Lee.
6,000.
He's not slow to bet either.
No.
Okay.
And that was very disciplined by Dave Finney. No farther once he was beat, but Nathan Lee takes the first pot, and if he was apprehensive, that may settle his nerves down.
I think so, Jesse. He didn't look apprehensive when he started playing. It's like a lot of things, you know, you get the nerves before you go on stage, don't you? And Nathan's overcome them. That'll help him a great deal.
Companion.
Oh, a little tweak of the ear for
Lucky charm. Lucky charm.
Why did you turn to
Right, he's going to scare you off.
He didn't.
Calm bully.
It was the 12,000.
Right.
I think he has no shame. A fully grown man with no hair and a soft
Can I throw him in
toy.
instead of all my chips I'm going all in? He's my token.
Suited connectors there for Nathan Lee. That's about the nicest thing you could say about those two cards.
Pass.
And Mahoney has yet to move a chip or a hair on his head. He's a very experienced player, Denis, and comes from that old Irish aggressive
6,000 total.
Scott Fishman. He is not shy of the deuce 5.
Pass.
And it's 4,000 now on Jalous.
Pass.
I think they'll know about Scott Fishman. They must have read his resume. He's got 2 bracelets. Perhaps he was flashing them in the green room before he started, Jesse.
So he's up to second.
I have been playing tournament poker professionally for 2 to 3 years now, and I've gotten a couple of the World Series bracelets back to back in 2004 and 2005. I was defending my title, came in second, which was a pretty big score for me, and it's been good. I have a WPT title, Young Guns of Poker, champion. I love it. Hopefully I'm going to win. That's what I would expect, and hopefully the viewers can expect me to win as well.
You know, it's a funny thing about playing against world champions. You know, I've had the experience myself once. And initially, for the first few rounds, you really don't want to get involved with them because you're scared. But as the game goes on and you relax, you think, oh, it's just a man. Or a woman.
He is, but he has proven himself very tough. In fact, this year at the World Series,
Pass.
he nearly won another bracelet, second in a 2,000 runner event, which was worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000.
Oh, that's not a bad payday, Jesse. That's about a quarter of your fee for this, isn't it?
Raised 5,000
That's
total.
per show, right?
Of
Oh,
course.
and look at this. There's been a raise here from Mahoney, and he is on the
Re-raise, 7
arm,
more,
but
12
Scott
total.
Fishman has the pair.
Darren's
Pass.
getting out of the way. I don't blame him. Oh, Peter Jalous has come up with a huge hand there.
Mahoney started this all off, but it's going to be re-raise, and I think could be a massive re-raise here.
All in.
All in.
Re-raise, all in.
Oh my!
Are we moving forward, yeah?
Well, I think Denis is going to get out of
Verbal's
the way,
good.
but what will Scotty
Yeah.
Fishman do? Does he
Haven't
think his
got.
tens are good for an all-in bet?
Everything, including the dog, says Jalous. And that re-raise is about 90,000. What is Fishman going to think? We know where Mahoney's sticking his 6-8 offsuit.
Yeah, where the
Pass.
sun don't shine.
But
Oh, it's very early for Scott, isn't it?
Pretty big bet for ace queen. 100,000.
If you're putting him on ace queen, Scotty, you're in for a shock.
Wow.
Scotty only flew in today from over the pond. Is he going to
Long way
sacrifice
what?
his tournament
It's gonna be a
life
long
in the
walk home
first,
if I call this right here.
first round? I don't think.
I got you beat for sure. I mean, pretty much guarantee it.
Pass.
Well, Scotty thinks that the raise was too big to signify a big pocket pair, but Jalous had the goods, and he's taken down with the kings.
Is that a case of Peter Jalous playing against Fishman, getting his chips in so he doesn't have any more decisions to make?
Well, it certainly maybe. It would have been very tough to outplay Peter Jalous for that point in the hand, wouldn't it? He stuck all his chips in. It may be, and it may have been Peter's plan to. He may have also just over-raised a little bit.
Yeah, I think he may have
It is-
panicked there.
You know, like you said, it's nice to settle in when you have this a big hand and a big decision early on. It's sometimes like you weren't ready for it.
Raised.
But Fishman made a
6,000
nice
total.
little lay down there.
That was very professional, wasn't it?
Pass.
Push all in. Do it.
He seemed to be saying that if
That's all.
he seemed to be saying that even if it was a 50-50 matchup, he didn't want to gamble with it.
How much?
Oh my, Fishman is
4,000
running
total.
into some big hands.
So obviously when he has a monster, he pretends he's asleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
But he's just calling here.
Okay.
Ace King, he's got a big hand.
Jeez.
And he's just going to peel off a flop here. Let Scott Fishman get himself in deeper, but the flop could change things. Head up now, 13,000 in there, and top pair, top kicker for Dave
Okay.
Finney.
Yeah, there's not enough there for Scotty to get... Oh, he's
3,000.
betting out. I was going to say he won't get too involved.
Well, it's only a tickle, this bet.
Yeah.
But, I think there's one thing that Dave Finney is not,
Raised.
and that
10 more,
is
13
intimidated.
total.
Dave has been around, and he doesn't seem to do back down.
Oh, Scotty's called it.
Wow.
Wow.
He doesn't believe.
Maybe his backdoor flush draw looks attractive to him. That doesn't help.
That's a massive...
20.
20,000.
What does Fishman think? He's just called 10,000. If he tries to bluff here too early, he's going to be in terrible shape.
He's drawing dead already.
He is.
It could be a short trip to the UK for Scotty if he goes over the top here.
I don't think Dave Finney's going to lay this down.
Maybe he's just practicing his folding technique. He
Pass.
is.
Seemed like it seemed like he called Mustin with intention of bluffing later, but thought better of it. Dave Finney was like on iron there.
Well, he couldn't have put him on ace king because he didn't raise before the flop, so his slow play worked on that occasion, but I wouldn't recommend that. If you got ace king in your hand, shove a few chips in to find out where you are.
Dave Finney striking while the iron is hot, and Peter Jalous, both of them have taken turns at the double world champion Scott Fishman. Finds himself the short stack early on.
Yeah, Scotty's been in a lot of hands so far, 60-odd% of the hands he's played, and he's won one, but the others have not worked out for him.
Pass.
Fold up shot. This is his second time over to Europe. I think he likes it over here, although he's found
Pass.
it going kind of rough.
He was saying earlier he played here in this room before and lost £15,000, so
8,000
maybe it's not the best room for him.
Second time it's been folded
Pass.
to Nathan Lee on the button, and he has found a raise on both occasions, although this time the
Oh,
king... Uh-oh. Well, this is a bit like the bewitching hour here tonight. We've seen some massive hands out. It's only the seventh hand in Omani with the Rockets. What's he thinking?
well, he's thinking, do I slow play? Do I raise? How much money can I get out of this man?
Raised to 18,000.
A quiet, quick raise,
Call.
and Nathan Lee is willing. And I don't know if Nathan Lee realizes how dangerous it'll be to hit a pair on this flop. Yikes.
And he's hit a pair. What he doesn't know is Omani's got trips.
Check.
He's in trouble, Jesse.
Yeah, Denis has a hand that's big enough to check.
21,000.
This trap is being set lovely. I mean, the way Omani's played this hand, it's almost like he's got two queens and hates the flop.
Yeah. Yeah, look at him. He doesn't even look happy, does he? Will he just call this?
Oh no, the shake of the head. Oh, it's a little too early for that.
This is a monster pot for the size of the blinds.
Tell you what, O'Mahony's praying right now that Nathan Lee has the case ace. But if he pushes too hard, he's going to lose his customer.
21,000.
I think he's going to call Jesse. I think he thinks there's more to be made.
Is there any way that he's scared of a big draw being out there?
42.
Well, it could be a flush draw,
Raise,
couldn't it? But
21 more,
I don't think
42
that
total.
Nathan's played it that way.
He's announced raise, the minimum raise, 21 to 42. Just trying to hand Nathan the rope with kid gloves and let him hang himself.
Yeah. I think Nathan's gonna fold this hand. I think he must be thinking the minimum that's out there is an ace.
Lee is paying the price for calling that re-raise before the flop right now. He is in a world of goo.
He's obviously come to play aggressively, Jesse. He's been in 2 or 3 pots, and every time he's bet out at the flop.
The terrible thing is he's nearly drawing dead. He could imagine what his best card is on the turn, and if it comes, all he can do is lose his chips.
You know, I'd have liked to seen Denis Omani just call that,
Pass.
because I think there was more money to be made. As it is, he's frightened him off. But won a great pot.
It is, but it's also a great pass by Nathan Lee. I know he had gotten a couple messages there, but not to go any deeper. The smartest thing he could have done, and oh, Mahoney, the little slow play, the re-raise, the rake-in, 132,000.
Yeah, Denis goes into the chip lead after that, and that's not surprising. That's the biggest pot we've played so far. I got a feeling these guys have come to play tonight, Jesse.
Does seem like it. No prizes for second, and everybody looking to take this by the scruff of the neck. I mean, Fishman made a very strong statement there with the loose play that he capable of in the early going.
Yeah, when we talked to Scotty earlier, he said he likes to establish a table image, but he
Pass.
never knows which one it's going to be. Well, I'd say, Scotty, it's loose.
Call. Call.
Nathan Lee trying to stop the bleeding, limping in with the 10-jack. He'll need a pot to settle his nerves, and Finney taking this as an opportunity to get a cheap one on the button. They all want to play with Fishman,
No raise.
and he's got the only ace out.
And this could be a very interesting flop, given that we have 10-jack, a couple of kings out there, and an ace.
And a couple of face cards. Best hand out there right now, Nathan Lee with the jacks.
Check. 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 All checks.
I think Nathan Lee's just a bit stunned right now, losing half his stack.
Well, that helps
Check.
nobody. So
Check.
Nathan Lee's still in the lead with his jacks, and he's not going to let it pass twice. He's
6,000.
going to have a little bet there.
Pass.
He's taking the hint here that the jacks are good. That should win it, although
Pass.
don't know. Scott Fishman
Pass.
did not have a pop at it, and always nice to win the bounce backer, as they say. You lose one pot, you win the next one. That's the best road for recovery.
A lot of players do that, don't they? If they don't hit top pair, pair, they'll check it. If everybody else checks it, then they'll bet their second pair, and that was kind of classic, really.
I don't think he wanted to get raised, that's for sure. Well, we've seen some big hands in this early going, and but none of them have been showed as interesting things. So as far as the players at this table are concerned, it's a very, very active table, and they won't know whether it's because of the personalities involved or the cards.
Pass.
It's good to see action from the get-go, though, Jesse, isn't it? You know, it's just
Pass.
great that people aren't afraid to, even when the blinds are low, let's play poker, let's get our chips in there.
Pass. Call.
Scott Fishman looking to play
Nice.
a pot here with Darren Bloom. Nobody's got nothing yet. 4,000 in the center.
I wonder why Darren Bloom calls himself the snake. He doesn't look very snaky to me. Top pair for Scotty Fishman, and he's going to bet it.
3,000.
I think it's top. It's 2 pairs. Isn't
Oh,
it?
top 2 pairs. It's getting late. My eyes were on what they used to be.
The 1 pair is enough anyway. And Fishman takes 1. He's won 2 pots, and yet finds himself in a bit of chip trouble.
Yeah, it's about winning the right 2 pots, isn't it, Jesse? You want to win the big ones.
Scott's had obviously a lot of success in the live tournaments, but he has trained himself on the internet. Quite an internet player, really part of that new generation of poker players who really have gotten all those hands and experience from the online game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the dealer on the internet is a bit quicker than the dealer live, and the chips, you don't even have to add them up. The computer does it for you, so you can play as many hands in an hour on the internet as you could in 3 hours when you're playing live, so you learn quickly.
Yeah, and Fishman's a big advocate of practicing there.
Raise to 6,000 total. Pass.
Wow, what's Nathan Lee up to? Did I see his cards right? Was it a 5 and a 7? Under the gun. He's come to play.
He certainly has. Dennis might be interested. Suited connectors. He's got a few chips now, 130,000.
Usually you think it'd be the guy with sunglasses
Oh.
that would be raising with the 5-7. Nathan Lee can't even use that excuse. And Fishman's picked up a pocket pair.
Re-raise
Not a
to
huge one on the
20,000.
button, but he seems to sense that it's good. He's stuck in about 1/3 of his stack.
Pass.
14,000 back on
Pass.
Nathan Lee, who's been caught out here. It would be well advised to put the brakes on.
I think even Nathan will lay this down, Jesse.
It's so depressing when they don't change.
Pass.
Omani's in a spot right here where he's got about 30,000 more than he started with, and it looks like he takes the view that he can afford to try and catch a good flop here. If it comes at 10, Fishman could be in a heap of trouble. This pot 30, it's over 40,000 actually.
Oh, you said it, Jesse, and there it is.
That could be
Check.
curtains for Fishman. He's in a situation right here.
And he's checked as well.
12,000.
He's in a situation where there is more money in the pot than remains in his stack. And
I wonder if Dennis is thinking, is my queen good? Are my 10s good?
Call.
He's called. Well, when you call a bet on the flop, that's a signal that you've hit something on the flop usually.
73,000 in there, and if Fishman decides to stick his chips in, it may not even be enough to get Omani to pass. Although
Check.
O'Mahony not terribly strong. Fishman's strong to 1 call.
All right.
Both checked.
Trouble here for Scott Fishman. I think O'Mahony must know the 2 10s are good now. River card changed nothing.
16,000.
He's called it.
Okay.
Quick call from Scott Fishman.
Okay, gentlemen.
O'Mahony's not sure he has the winner, but it is. 10s beating 9s.
Well, Scott Fishman's thinking it's a long way from Pennsylvania.
And O'Mahony plays with suited connectors, everything going his way. Which of these nuts has got the most guts? We'll see after this. Looking at the pie chart, it's O'Mahony, 2 big pots for the move. And that he took them right out of the green pie.
Scotty Fishman, two-time world champion, 24,000 chips, and we're still in level 1. Let's see how a master plays the short stack.
He's got himself in some tough situations already. Scott has. He says, "You call that 9-10 of spades?"
You'd think he'd know by now that poker's about not playing against the better hand too often. Denis Omani is 187,000 chips. He's nearly doubled his stack. And he's playing like the pro poker player that he is, Jesse.
Yes. He's done everything right and had the cards to match so far.
Call. Pass.
But then Scott Fishman very short. The only saving grace for him is that it's still first level. That could be a big hand for Darren Bloom on the button. Looks like he's got his raising shoes on.
Raise to 8,000 total.
Really the first chips that Darren Bloom has moved. We'll see if he gets some respect here.
It's quite a big raise, 4 times the big blind.
Peter wouldn't want to get involved here. If he could see Darren's cards, he certainly wouldn't.
Maybe the dog makes the decisions in that relationship. Nathan has come to play. 6-5 offsuit, and he's in the pot.
What can I say?
I don't know. What can you say?
Three-way here.
I didn't think you could say fold, but apparently you can.
Oh, Omani has folded right there. He's taking a look at that. How happy is Nathan Lee?
He knew something I didn't, Jesse.
Swap 2 pairs. Now the question is, can he convert it? Nathan Lee also has had a bit of a backwards mission, but this is about to change. And Darren Bloom.
15,000.
That's a big bet.
Raised all in.
That was definitely not what Darren Bloom wanted to hear. This game has got action.
It certainly
I'll tell
has.
you what.
It's fantastic to watch. I think you're laying this down. Do your bit of acting and then get out of there, matey.
Darren is a hedge fund trader. He knows all about decision making. But I don't think there's too many guys like Nathan Lee on the floor of the futures markets.
I wonder who funded the hedge that is his hairstyle. But it went over the top of the gel this morning, I think. He's laid it down.
Pass.
The snake slithers away silently. So the blinds are just about to go up. Let's take a look at how the blinds work in Texas Hold'em. Every poker hand begins with the placing of the button and the posting of the blinds. The button is a disc that represents the nominal dealer. The blinds are forced bets to get the action started. The player to the left of the button puts in the small blind. The player on his left puts in the big blind, usually double the small. Action for this first round of betting will move to the left of the big blind. The button moves to the left with each hand, and the blinds are raised throughout the game to keep the action going.
Denis Omani's gone quiet. He seems to have stopped his bullying tactics. He's sitting there with 180,000 chips, and he must be thinking, this is easy. Shall I go to sleep for half an hour, let the rest of them play?
He's very experienced Omani. He's actually had quite a few wins, not only in Europe, but in Las Vegas as well. And,
he's seen nothing but connectors.
That's all he wants to see.
Oh.
He's happy enough, I'll tell you what.
Fold.
Oh, Peter Jalous wakes up with a hand, folded to him on the
Call.
button, and he's just called.
Yeah, he has.
Call.
He's letting Nathan in cheap.
Option.
And Dave Finney with the same hand as Peter.
Raised.
You know,
12.
last week we
Total
saw a
16,000.
confrontation with 2 lots of eight jacks, and I think Andy Pyra, who won the heat we were watching, he actually managed a flush.
Oh, it was
in
disgusting,
spades.
wasn't it?
Oh, it's a disgrace. Give the money back, Andy.
I think Jalous might have started out thinking he was trapping here. Now he's seen a raise from Finney, and he might not be as sure about his hand anymore.
You'd rather raise with ace jack than call a raise with ace jack, wouldn't you?
I'll go all in.
All in.
Oh,
Tell you what, if someone told that Jalous, when in doubt, just stick your chips in it, it's not the worst advice you can give, and it's going to put Finney in a very tough spot.
I think Nathan Lee might be folding here.
God, I hope so.
That's a great move by Jalous, because Finney now has a really, really tough decision, as you were saying. I mean, so early in the tournament, do you want to call that for all your chips with ace-jack?
Oh, he doesn't look happy. And, I mean, the way Jalous has played this hand, it smacks of something huge.
Give it to him.
Wow.
Wow. Well played, Peter Jalous.
Really, I mean, you can't blame Dave Finney for thinking that his ace-jack was no good. And, you know, Jalous, I mean, he looked like he wasn't sure if he wanted to fold or call. He just went with the all-in re-raise. What a massive play.
I mean, it looked weak when he didn't raise before the flop, but he had a plan. The man with the plan. Or maybe it's the dog with the plan.
So Fish and Chips shop owner Peter Jalous raising his way. He's got more than he started with for sure.
Yeah. I guess that's why he's nicknamed the Fish, not because of his poker play, but because of his shop. I mean, Peter the Chip Jalous doesn't work quite as well, does it?
Dan will be folding those.
Fold.
4,000 to call, and it's Scott Fishman
Fold.
in the big blind. Or I think actually it's Dennis Omani, come to think of it.
Call. Option.
Well, Nathan Lee's got a pair of fours, and for him, that's a massive hand.
I think he could stand some heat here.
No raise.
And the 4 is nearly the high card of all the ones out there. 12,000 in the pot. And a 5 could make things a little bit interesting.
Check. Check.
Well, the fours are still
Checked.
good.
All checked.
Put another heart on board.
Check.
Giving Finney a couple possibilities.
Check.
Flush draw, straight draw.
6,000.
Nathan thinks his fours are still good, and he's right. Nobody's got a high enough heart to stay in for
Fold.
another heart, so Nathan takes it down again.
Little raise and take it action there, or bet and take it. Or just take it.
I knew you'd get there, Jesse. I knew it. Well, Nathan's bumped up to third now. He's played a lot of hands. He's come to play, hasn't he? And he's got the suit jacket for it too. Looks like he's come straight out. Maybe he's Nathan in Guys and Dolls.
I'll tell you. You get the feeling that when Nathan Lee is on the blackjack table, he's not just playing one box at a time. I kind of think he's spreading those bets out a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't just play with his hands, he plays boxes with his feet as well. He likes action.
Fold. 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 Fold.
It's actually, I mean, he has played a lot of hands, but he's made a lot of good decisions, Nathan Lee. Oh my, again! This is the third lot of aces we've seen in 20 hands.
He's going to slow play these.
Uh-oh. Fishman's pushed. He's gotten trapped.
Oh, and
this is it. Oh, Mahoney has caught him.
Denis couldn't say call quick enough, could he? Who can blame him?
Fishman cannot believe it. He has been... This pot's 90,000. Fishman all in here. He had built himself all the way back up. But unless a 6 comes, he'll be the first man out.
Brilliant trap. Brilliant trap. Just absolutely brilliant.
And that is no help. 2 clubs, a distinct possibility.
Club.
A 10 would end it.
Ace
An ace would end it.
Only a 6 now.
Yeah.
2 cards in the deck.
6. You're like everybody.
Deuce on the
See you
river,
guys.
and Scott Fishman,
You like what?
he played a lot of hands, but still,
Well
most
done, well
of them
done.
went the wrong way.
Congratulations.
And he is our first player out. Fishman trapped in Mahoney, his second lot of aces, and that was pretty much all she wrote. 5 blank cards and aces up, beating jacks up. Take a double world champion out the money.
He must be dressed quite conservatively tonight. Conservatively, in fact, is the word I'm looking for tonight, because, I mean, he owns all these clothes and apparently he does wear them out to events.
He is. I think he mentioned that his wife told him he looked like a doodad in the coat he showed up with last time. But he said if he does make it to the semifinal stages, he will pull out a dandy.
All right. The big occasion ending.
And a pocket pair here for Finney. He has just called a raise on the button from Nathan Lee, who is completely on the arm. How often do you get up against a raiser with 2 5s and find out you've got 2 over cards? Or he's got 2 under cards, as I should say.
Well, if Dave Finney misses the flop and doesn't hit trips, checks, and Nathan Lee bets with his 2-3, is Dave Finney going to run away again?
It's a very reasonable possibility, isn't it? I mean, there's just not many flops you can hit with 2 5s that don't involve another one.
He's checked.
Nathan Lee has but to bet. This is sort of the power of positive thinking. He's looking back there and telling himself, that's a king.
All rise.
Ah, Dave's found himself. He's going to raise.
This is great stuff. I mean, this is good poker.
The 20 to play.
Don't know what Dave Finney has found out, what he's seen, what he's smelled, but he is completely right.
You can purse your lips as much as you like, Nathan. You're going in the muck. Ooh, what shall I do with my 2-3?
I mean, Lee's made a good play there. He's just been caught. That's pretty much all there is to it. He's been outplayed here.
Yeah, we were just saying that he had to get a move on, and I honestly thought he'd run away from the bet again, but he's had enough, and the re-raise was perfect.
But there's some bite in that bark yet. Dave Finney, only 1 pair, way at the bottom. But the re-raise took the money. And that, in fact, has put Dave Finney right back in this thing. He's not far off where he started.
Yeah, Dennis Mahoney's gone quiet, hasn't he? I mean, you know, we were talking about bullying earlier, and we thought that Dennis might be the one to bully. Well, he did bully once, and then he just stopped.
Yeah, and then he ended up folding a pair of deuces. So I mean, I think he's completely shut down this level, and is going to wait until the 3, 6, or 5, 10 to crank it up a notch.
Yeah. Maybe it's what they call mixing up your play.
Last time Omani made a move on Darren Bloom, he got stuck it up. Nothing if not hard-headed.
Raised.
And he's making the move again.
14 total.
Not this time, Darren, eh?
Yeah. Learned it last time.
I had it this time. You know, it's. I think Omani, he was trying to avoid saying he had a good hand without telling a out and out lie. But if he has to tell the out and out lie, he'll resort to that.
Wow.
You know, sometimes think that morally poker is completely reprehensible because it is the art of lying. Is this a good thing to teach our children, the children of the world? Of course it is. How can you get anywhere without being a good liar nowadays?
Oh, the first one was good. The second one, almost as pretty.
Good enough for Nathan, though. Oh, but he's only calling.
4,000. And Omani
Fold.
not making the button play.
Call. The option.
Bloom's done well just to call there.
No raise.
High cards on the flop, we could see some action here, Jesse.
Yeah. Everybody going back for a little energy. Uh-oh.
Well, Darren's hit a pair of jacks, and Peter Jalous has hit top pair with aces.
And Lee, the gut straight draw. Well, if this is a bet that's asking for information, he's going to find out pretty quick
16,000.
where he's at. That's a big bet. There's only 12,000 in the pot.
Peter Jalous and the dog are thinking, is my 4 kicker any good?
Yeah, that might really worry Peter. I mean, Peter's in a situation right now where if he makes a raise, he'll be talking about half his stack, really. Is it better just not to get involved?
Well, he's got something around 130,000, and he thinks he'd rather keep them. That was a good, strong bet.
It really was. I mean, if Darren Bloom bet 6,000 or 8,000, he's probably losing that pot. That 16,000 bet was it was pretty powerful. Very capable. I don't know if Darren knew what he was doing. He must have. He had to have.
Well, he grew up with his brother Tony. I guess he must know something.
I don't think there were many hot biscuits left on the breakfast table.
I don't know how to miss my cards that flop.
What a great way to grow up in a house that plays poker.
Yeah.
Jack 6 or something like that.
Fold.
Tony, the bigger poker player, but Darren, just as big a gambler. Hedge funds for a living.
Pass.
Fold.
It's okay.
Raise.
This is a new Darren Bloom. He's really opening up his game. And nobody seems to have the answer for it. Oh!
Oh, there's the answer.
It's almost like everybody watched the same Phil Hellmuth video we did. That's just a great play by Nathan Lee. He's kept very quiet for about, I don't know, 5-6 hands anyway.
5-6 seconds, Jesse.
But Ace-9 is the kind of hand that can be in big trouble if the raise is real. But in Bloom's case, he was. He just raised one too many times.
This is a great demonstration, this heat, of how to put the pressure
Fold.
back on your opponent. Nobody's getting anything for free around this table tonight.
This is absolutely true. And so Nathan Lee, a strong statement to take that 15,000 before the flop. And he's climbed up about 17,000 from his bottom rung. We haven't seen that many flops since Scott Fishman left the table. It's been all just bingo bango, really.
Yeah, bingo bango and bongo, I'd add to that. But this is great poker. This is making people fold with the best hand, raising, re-raising, not being scared to commit your chips. And when people first look at the game, they want to see what the cards are. But the higher the level of poker goes, I think, the less you see what somebody's got. And this is a great demonstration of that tonight.
Fold. Raise.
He's gone raisy
Well,
crazy.
He really has.
Fold.
Change me, yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan's got a real hand. He's only calling this time.
Fold.
Do you want to see a flop with a pair of eights, Jesse?
Well, it's
Really bad.
The odds are there's going to be at least one overcard on the board, aren't there? Maybe more. But Darren in a situation where the ace is what he needs to hit. Although, oh my gosh.
Is he going to get paid?
They call it poker. 4 of a kind on the flop, and this is the face of a man who's happy.
10,000.
Might have been able to find a check there, or maybe the strong will look weak. Bloom is. Bloom's falling for it.
Is he going to re-raise? I believe he is. It's his style.
Oh.
Re-raise. 20 on top, 32.
I'm all in.
All in.
And,
well, I don't like that play. I think there was more money to be had out of that, and I do think that Darren will now fold. He's missed the flop. He's made his move. He's looking at trips minimum, I think, with that re-raise.
Darren Bloom just got the message by
Okay, 10,
carrier
20, 30,
pigeon
35, 40.
that it has
All in for
come.
41,000.
And I mean, the truth is, the way Nathan's played this hand, though, in some ways, it looks like a draw. I mean,
Darren hasn't even got a draw.
No, he doesn't. He's got an ace, and
Yeah,
there's
he's got an ace.
129,000 in there. It's, I mean, Darren will really get egg on his face if he calls this, but he might be in one of those. Sometimes you just get yourself in a thought process. Well, it's, you know, he can't call, can he? He absolutely can't call. He thought he was winning when he made the raise. I think he thought he was winning.
Sometimes you just have to take
Oh.
your medicine.
You
and he has.
absolutely
Show
do.
you. What a pass.
Oh no, this is salt in the wounds now.
Wow.
4-8,
So that's down
and
to this
Darren
level.
Bloom doesn't move a muscle.
6,000.
Nathan Lee counting up his chips. That 4 of a kind has given him more than he started with. And big black snake there, the ace.
This would normally be a raising hand, and I don't think he's going to let me down.
Call.
Ah, he just called. He did let me
Pass.
down.
Then again. But does Omani want to take advantage?
Pass.
That's what they call the limper's tax. Now,
Call.
we've seen this situation before. Blinds against
No
Nathan Lee for the free flop. 18,000. Sorted up sideways. 2 pair for Jalous.
Check.
Maybe big enough for him to check it.
Check.
Oh, and he's put on a very grim look as well. Well done.
Nathan's in there. He's not slowing down.
12,000.
Yeah, Jalous.
He's not going to like it.
No,
Pass.
Jalous has done well to induce the bluff. And is it upscope here? Or is it just a call? Well, that's the dog. Peter's praying that actually Nathan's got something here.
He's acting cool.
Which one?
How wrong
Raise.
can you
20,000
be?
more, 32 total. 20 to call.
I don't know what's on the flop there to scare him.
Yeah, it is a real rainbow flop, isn't it?
Yeah.
No straight draws, no flush draws, no nuttin'. But Nathan Lee be thankful to take this hint here.
Pass.
Dennis the quad 8 too.
I think Peter Jalous missed a trick there. You know, he was very strong. The flop had nothing on it. He didn't give Nathan Lee a chance to catch up at all. He put in quite a sizable raise.
Well, Jalous has developed sort of a tendency here to, when he thinks he has the best hand, to just try and end things there and then. He may not have maximized his opportunities, but he certainly has avoided any post-flop play at all.
Yeah, it's obviously a strategy. I mean, very early in the tournament, he shoved his chips all in with ace-king, well over the top, over betting the hand. But, you know, he's sitting there now with 147,000 chips, so
Pass.
maybe he knows better than we know. And we can see everybody's cards.
Pass.
Darren Bloom, not much, but there is
Pass.
9,000 out there. He doesn't want it.
Pass.
That may be the first walk-around we've seen this evening, and it's really been a factor of the cards rather than the players. But free,
Wait a second.
blind for Nathan Lee.
Nathan was sitting there with ace-king, so I think
was
he would.
he?
Yeah, I think he was rather hoping people to play with him, but you know, money for nothing. Wasn't that dire straits?
I think it was. MTV.
Yeah. Your chicks for free. I don't know if Nathan's going to get that.
Pass.
Pass. Pass. Pass.
Cool.
Call.
15,000.
Raise 15,000
But
more.
Dave
21
Finney trying
quarter.
to squeeze the edge here, ace-queen, making the raise, and he's got Nathan Lee in a bit of a tight spot.
Call.
This pot's gotten big all of a sudden. And if the queen comes, Dave Finney will have won himself a bonanza.
Oh, Jesse, you called it. Oh, dear me.
Dave Finney has patiently waited for this kind of opportunity. He will be rewarded.
30,000.
I'm all in.
Raised all in.
Quick
Yeah, cool.
decision.
Call.
And quick call. I don't know who's got more. I think perhaps it is Nathan Lee with more chips. So it's Dave Finney all in, but ahead here. And unless a king comes, we're going to have a new sheriff in town.
His only other way out are running clubs. Should give him the flush. And there is a club.
Oh, speak of the devil. Any club, any king here. Anything else, and Dave Finney will be on a double up. Wait, that's a lot of outs he's got. Only 3-1 favorite. And playing for all the money in the center. That 9 pairs the board, the ace plays. And Dave Finney is on top of a big stack for the first time this evening.
35, 40. I don't play like this stuff. But I used to play more. But my wife gave me the ultimatum not to play more. So I packed in some more. But game's moved on. I'm willing to give it a go and try and combat the new game that seems to be upon us. The new fast game that seems to be upon us. And only one thing will be living in a mud hut.
The terrible things about poker, everything can go right for about 6 levels, and then on the 7th day,
he rests.
Pass.
That was quick.
Wow, what a rash of hands Omani is having here.
I'd be interested to see how he plays the jacks. They're always a difficult hand to play, I think. But I think he's going to raise. It's a hand to raise with rather than call with, that's for sure.
Not enough for you to worry about. 13. There are a few other players at the table.
I know, I'm just seeing.
There's 2 others there.
I'll find out very quickly here, won't I?
Well, O'Mahony would be willing to take any sort of heat, I think, with his jacks. Only 4 players in.
Raise.
Raise.
27,000.
total.
That's enough to tell Darren Bloom.
Pass.
And, ooh, I don't think so.
I don't think so, but Peter Jalous has a habit of shoving them in.
The big problem is going to be for Nathan Lee, who has over 1/3 of his stack in the pot right now. And he may be willing to take a flyer with almost any reasonable 2 cards. But
Yeah, you're right. I'll pass.
Pass.
Yeah, I'll call.
The dog was right.
I've only seen
And so
one.
are you, Jesse. He has called.
So it must be an overcard to mine.
He has one overcard.
I've got ace. That's all.
Okay,
Ace 7
with one.
clubs.
an ace. That's what Nathan Lee will be living and dying on here. He's all in.
Proper hand.
A lot of the damage was done earlier. But this pot's big enough to put Nathan Lee right back in it, should he lasso a win from this pot. Although O'Mahony quite happy about the situation, and even happier now.
Yeah, for sure. No help with the hearts, but he has a backdoor straight.
That an ugly card. It's left Nathan Lee with just the aces in the deck, and Peter Jalous folded one of them. It's looking very grim here.
The condemned man takes the last drink.
Well done, Denis. I'm looking like, yeah.
Well, Nathan Lee, he gave it a heck of a run. For a while there, it looked like he was going to be the danger. But bit of a trip trot, and he's in 5th.
A big piece of the pie goes to Omani, and at the bottom of our little pie chart there, a little bit of orange for Darren Bloom, but never say never.
Circle smaller now, and Darren Bloom under the gun. It's a free hand, but there won't be many more of those for him tonight. He's got 33,000 and might be willing. Oh no, excuse me, it's so just one big blind here. I think they're
Raise 12,000 more, 18 total.
And Jesse, Denis Omani continues to pick up monster hands, a pair of queens.
he's had aces, aces, jacks, and now the ladies, and Darren Bloom is trying to decide if the ace-8 is worth the all-in. I mean, we've seen the queens, we know they're not, but from Darren's point of view, ace-8 must seem like a monster. You couldn't blame him for sticking his chips in here.
I think he has to. He doesn't know the queens are out there.
And he's had a very aggressive raising tendency. And, there are several hands he could have raised with that ace-8 is in great shape against.
It's a bit late to get timid, Darren. I think they've got to go in.
If anything will stop him, it would be that he'd rather get the chips in first and have a chance not to have the cards on their back. But he's so low that
Raised all in.
he's decided to be aggressive with them. And you wouldn't begrudge him an ace here, but the card's willing to begrudge anybody, to be honest with you.
Look at his face. He sort of smelt something, didn't he? The hands that Denis has been getting throughout this tournament. And once again, Denis goes into it in the lead.
Can the snake slither out of this? Whoa. Oh. I tell you, the 8, you can see the 8 first, and it almost looked hopeful, but that lady lurking on the back of the flop has pretty much ended this, running spades.
He's trying to keep the smile going, but it's fading.
It's no fun. It's no fun when you're basically drawing dead. And now he is officially drawing dead, Darren Bloom. The river card will be immaterial. Just a bit of a tease. And Darren Bloom, one hand later, out in 4th position. The miracle comeback to remain just that. Well, 3 queens on the flop for Omani and a full house on the turn. Can this man be beat? Darren Bloom out of chances and out in 4th.
It's not classed as cheating if I'm getting involved.
That dog's going to be a star.
Oh, if Peter wins here, he'd be sick not to bring it back for the semis, wouldn't he?
Pass.
In fact, he might just let the dog play. Excuse me.
No, excuse me. I was just going to make a facetious joke, and you stopped me in time. Thank you for that.
No, Omani was very aggressive on Darren Bloom, as long as Darren was on his left. Now he's got a new customer here in Jalous, and he doesn't play favorites, Omani. He raises everybody with equally reckless abandon, but he can afford to do it.
Sorry, guys. 12,000 more.
Heads up, an ace is strong. How's Peter going to play this? Will he call? Will he raise? Or will he fold? I think all options are there. Maybe the dog's tail. Twist the dog's tail for inspiration.
Interestingly enough, I mean, the only re-raises we've seen Peter make tonight are all in. But that's so many chips at this stage.
Have I got time to raise all in?
Cool.
He's called.
Maybe not the worst option, although if the ace flops and Omani makes a big bet, then where is he? He's watching Denis. Denis is watching the flop.
Yeah, does he really want to see an ace on the flop? He's not going to.
Not a terrible flop for Peter. Got straight draw. Deuce would make him the wheel, as you say. Denis leading with the bottom pair.
Check.
Interesting to see if Omani thinks that was a trap check.
10,000.
Not the strongest bet in the world. It's fun when you get these situations where neither player seems to know where they're at, and it's the great players always win these pots.
Becomes a battle of wills, doesn't it? And courage. He's completely mad. Omani has announced raise. He's got more chips. He can afford to do this, and if he's wrong, he's going to find out about it quickly. If Peter can find the re-raise, I think he can take the pot, but it's a tall order. And as you said, Jesse, the only re-raise he knows is shoving his chips in the middle. I'm not sure against the chip leader that he's going to do that right now.
Got several ways to win, even if this does go all the way. Any ace, any deuce, running hearts. And of course, sticking all his chips in would, well, he's 2-1 again. Sticking all his chips in would definitely get the desired effect. But how can he know? It looks like a queen from Omani, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's out.
All right.
think the way he played that, he put himself in an awkward situation. As soon as he entered the pot, if he hit an ace and then was faced with a bet, he's going to wonder that his kick is strong enough with just a 3. He sort of put himself in a no-win situation throughout that hand, I think, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, that was about 20,000 that just seemed to be fluttering around. And Peter can ill afford that. He's down to just over 100 ball now. You have to look on his face. He's not thrilled about how he played that hand. He's not even sure if he folded the winner or the loser.
Denis's chips now, he's over the 300,000 mark. So he's in a great position.
It's so tough to play hands against a chip leader, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got so many more opportunities than you do.
Call.
You with your little meager stack.
Yes. And to get this far down to the last 3 and suddenly make a mistake against the big stack is something you would like to avoid.
Free flop and a pair for one, a straight draw for the other. You've seen Dave Finney make some very marginal decisions this evening. They've been correct. And this one, a good bet.
Pass.
He plays a fine edge, Dave Finney does. He showed that with that pair of 5s earlier. And since then, he has maneuvered himself into a very clever position.
Yeah, early on he seemed to be dominated by Denis, but he's come out of his shell since he won that big pot earlier. And now it looks like he's coming out to play, and it's a good time. I mean, the blinds are going to go up fairly soon, I think. And he's in a decent position. Denis is in the best position, obviously has far more chips. But nonetheless, he's played very, very solidly, Dave Finney. And, I can see the two of them getting heads up here. I think Peter seems to have lost his art of the all-in.
He has. Although he's, as you say, the blinds are still low enough, so there's plenty of play, even for Peter. If Denis gets out of line here, he hasn't. But this is a new song from Dave Finney, just limping in with the ace in the blinds.
That sound means the next hand the blinds will go up.
He's thinking. I'm told reliably.
Maybe he's just tired.
Check. Check. They checked.
Omani has resisted the urge to bluff twice now. And if he checks here, it'll be a give up.
8,000.
Ooh. Dave will talk himself through this. And convince himself he's beat. He wasn't. And Omani steals it on the end there.
I'll get round that way on my top.
No.
No.
Well, Denis has turned up a pair of snowmen there. And knowing him, he's going to be putting a raise in here.
Raised 15 more, 25 total.
Oh. Well, this is his kind of hand for going over the top, Jesse.
I mean, it looks like a royal flush for
All in.
Peter.
Yeah.
You can't blame him.
He's going to get a call.
And he's not in bad shape here. If this hand goes to 5 cards, he's got 2 overcards. I don't think he's going to be terribly upset to take this gamble. Does Omani want to take this gamble? Denis must know that the best he is 50-50. He might be priced in.
I think he might be priced in. It's a third of his chips that he'll be putting in if he does want to race. But he's hit everything that he's gambled on tonight.
He really has.
He's got to be thinking he's impregnable, omnipotent.
2 8s have done very well this evening. In other craws.
Yes, Nathan turned them into 4 8s, didn't he? That's magic.
This is the important question. How much will I be left with if I call and lose? And the answer is somewhere in the region of over 200,000, which will still be average chips. Based on that, he may consider it's an automatic call.
He hasn't been put to the test very often this evening. And as you say, he must know he's in a race if he puts them in, or he may suspect a higher pair.
Yeah, he could be very far behind, couldn't he?
How much is in there? Please.
Ah, yes, the pot.
Call. Turn over, please.
Small pair.
It is a race, after all that.
I've got a gamble.
But,
Send me and Pepe young.
Oh, the dog's called Pepe. What's an Italian dog doing on a British poker program, Jesse?
Peter and Pepe all in, and they hit the 10. I do believe Peter will be around a while longer. Running hearts or the 8 still outs for Omani. Now just the 8 to avoid. And doubled up.
Pepe's very pleased. Thank you, Daddy.
Well, as far as the game is concerned, it is going to make it more interesting, and it's going to give Omani more of a dimension to show here. Now he's been knocked back. It was all one way for him. The massacre has been stopped up a little bit, and it's very close to even Steven between these three. It's really all of a sudden anyone's game from here. Just 3 left. One of them's the Butcher, looking for the Cowboys, but he's up against the Baker, the Baker's friend, the man of the moment. Everybody's kind of, as you say, set their stall out and how they're going to win this. Omani would love to chop away at the small pots. Peter wants to win the big pots, and don't really know. Finney seems to be just bobbing all over.
As to who gets heads up here, I think that to a large extent is down to Peter Djiallis, because with his habit of making his re-raise and his raises all in, he's either going to win one of those or lose one of those. If he wins one of those, he's going to be incredibly powerful, and if he loses, he's gone.
Does have that appearance. Omani pushing, and Peter countenance turned towards the Irishman. Waiting to see how big the raise is.
20 more. 30 total.
Denis has completely shed himself of the big chips. Ooh. He's got Queen 8 in terrible shape.
But does he know it?
Just go.
Call.
Ooh, this is what happened with the ace-3 last time, and it got him in terrible trouble. Although this time, Jalous in a dominating position. And This pot, though, 50, 60,000 already.
I can't see him winning it unless he flops a king, and he has flopped a king.
Yeah.
He knows where he is now.
Not only that, but Omani has second pair.
Yeah.
Which is not going to look terrible. This will be a big test of
Check.
Denis's skills.
Both check.
Ooh.
Denis's recent play
Check.
says he's going to bet, and he doesn't bet. He checks again. Well, surely Peter's got to fire at this.
Oh, Omani's been around. You wonder if he's trapping or if he really senses danger.
Worst case scenario is that Peter bets and Denis goes over the top. Worst case, that is for Denis.
40,000. Sorry, 50,000.
That's a big bet.
Holding.
Oh, and Omani's fallen into it.
I've run into it, haven't I?
Turn your
He knows. He knew instantly. He knew instantly.
Darn it.
He has played such a perfect game, Denis Omani. And that is the first mistake he's made. Peter Jalous with the big bet on the turn has gotten all those chips, and only a queen would have gotten Denis out of it. And he's not out, but he's certainly going to be short.
Yeah, I think he's down doing a quick calculation to round about 50,000 chips, Denis, from chip leader with over 300,000 not so long ago down to 50. And this is just poker.
Put a small bet in, I thought you're going to re-raise me up.
We've said all along,
Take it on me.
Denis has had a perfect ride until that point. It's the first time he's made a mistake, and it's cost him big time.
Big switcheroo now. Peter Jalous. He seized, he pounced, he ate Denis Omani. And Omani down to 48,000 in chips. He's never been that low.
There's nothing one can say to that picture without being slightly obscene.
That's a lot of new looks. I'll tell you what.
Who said poker was boring? Not if you're a stuffed animal, it's not.
Pass. Raise. 47,000 total.
Now this might be a re-raise, and a big one at that. Do you think he might stick them all in, Jesse?
It's very interesting because, I mean, Finney has done a lot of limping into Omani's big blind. This is the first raise in a while. And A7, obviously, either very good or in trouble. It all comes down
You
to...
just take into 15s for a second. Thanks. Thank you.
This is another one of those situations where the great players always get this decision right. And, you know, you never know why, but they do. It's, because it's so marginal, this one.
Holding.
Raise, Darren.
Oh, cool.
And a call.
And he's called straight away.
These two playing for basically half the chips on the table. There's very little between them. I think Dave Finney has a few more chips, so it's Mahoney all in. But the winner of this pot, very strong to go forward to the heads-up stage. And O'Mahony's ahead with the ace.
And he's still ahead with the ace, and there's nothing there at all. Nothing for Dave Finney.
Dave Finney called that very quickly, and now he's calling for a jack or a king.
One card to go.
Oh!
Sorry.
Cruel.
It should be 133.
Completely cruel.
He's covered me.
That's the end.
That's the sad end for Denis Omani, who has played fabulous poker here, and one card on the river, one of a possible 6 cards, sends him down the road. Tragedy.
10, 20. Yeah, it's got you in. Yeah. You're going to have a break.
Poker, a cruel game. Yes, it is. Omani made the raise, got the call, was ahead. Jack on the river gives Dave Finney 2 pair. We're head up.
Well, Dennis, commiserations. For most of that game, it seemed you were just playing flawless poker. One hand came up, a big one against Peter, though, with the Queen 8.
Yeah, he hadn't been betting them out strong all night, and I felt I was trapping him. He was trapping me in hindsight, but what can I do? I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, if I take him out, I've got most of the chips, and it seemed like everybody was waiting for me to knock people out and didn't want to do battle themselves.
Jesse, we're two-handed, but we're full-poured.
Is it head-to-head or 2-on-1? And looking at the head-to-head statistics, Dave Finney with a slight edge over Peter Jalous. But both of them have claims to be here. How do you think it's going to go here?
Well, I'd be expecting Peter to make his big move, the move that he knows to make, which is to shove them all in when he gets something. I think Dave will be more subtle in his play, and he'll try and outplay Peter after the flop. But this is heads up, and it could go either way, Jesse. I can't call it.
You know, I mean, Peter, with Pepe the dog, he's obviously a bit of humor here, but he's doing well to sort of shield the fact that he's played some very good poker tonight. Now, it hasn't been so subtle. It's been a little bit about the hammer strike. But he's picked his spots well, Peter has, and, you know, in a head-up spot, this bash and bam, there's nothing wrong with it, is there?
No. If he picks his spot one more time, it could be the spot in the semi-final for him.
Although blinds 7 and 15 now. There is a bit of play. Only 30,000 in the pot before the flop in an unraised pot. And you have to fancy that Dave Finney.
Check, both checked.
Able to win the pots where no one's got nothing. Although if it comes at 10, they'll both have a straight here.
Well, they've both made top pair now with the jack.
Ooh, this is deadly for Finney. It's so rare to have top pair head up and be losing, but this is the story.
30,000.
He could come over the top here.
Call.
And he just calls.
Here's the river. Finney needs a 7. That's his only out, actually. Anything else? 9, for instance. And Jalous' kicker plays.
Check.
Well, that pot could have been
I've only seen
lot
one card,
bigger.
and that's a jack. So I ain't got a clue what my kicker is.
Do you think that was a wind-up, Jesse? I mean, how can you not know what your kicker is when your head's up?
Yeah, they're only playing for an entrance into
Well,
the
the comment
$360,000 prize pool. But I don't know. I
the stunt by seeing the one card, and hopefully you've noticed I've only looked at one.
I think he was serious.
I think he was too.
I just don't think he has it in him to pretend about that. Something like that. And that may have been why he checked on the river. It's so interesting to see how, with Denis Omani gone, how much the whole tenor of the game has changed. Both these guys have drifted into, I think, their natural rhythm, which is to try and see every card before making a serious decision.
Yes, Denis said in his interview with you, Jesse, that he felt he was having to make all of the play, and he was comfortable with that because he was taking down pots. These two guys, he claims, were waiting for big cards, and in heads up, I think Denis had a good read on both of them.
Oh, this is an action flop pair. 2 pair now for Jalous, and a flush draw for Dave Finney.
30,000.
And
30,000. All in. Raised, all in.
He must call.
Give it him.
He won't call.
no, he's only a diamond wins.
It's a good job he didn't do it on the flop.
Dave wishes he had checked that turn. Hitting a diamond on the river might have gotten him the whole bundle, but he was not to know. And that 30,000 has just shifted hands, and it's going to take very little to provide separation here. And if someone can make a big bluff at a big pot, that could just turn the tide.
I don't think we've seen a single bluff heads up yet, have we?
No?
Call.
Okay.
No raise.
No, it's a good point. I don't think we have. It's been ABC. Well, somebody's going to have to bluff here because nobody's got a darn thing.
They'll check it right down, Jesse, you know that. Oh, no.
Give it to him.
Peter's in there.
40,000.
Yeah,
Fold.
this is exactly what's happening. Peter Jalous has really swung this in his favor, hasn't he? He's winning.
He is winning. He's winning, but he's only 50,000 chips ahead. He's got 325 and Dave Finney has 275, so in spite of being the more aggressive of the two, he hasn't made enough separation to do any damage.
Amazing when there were 3 players at this table and the blinds were lower, a lot lower. We had all ins nearly every hand.
Call.
Somewhere Dennis Mahoney is saying just and this is a huge slow play from Peter.
He's looking for Finney to hit the flop here.
Either that or he hasn't checked his cards yet. I think he has looked though. Flush draw.
Oh, it could go off here.
Sure. I'm all in.
All
Oh,
in.
he's got caught! He has definitely got caught!
He must call.
What has happened here? Dave Finney
Oh, cool.
has gotten trapped.
Go, Jack.
No.
There's 4 spades out there, but he has finally gotten
luck.
caught.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Well, there are 9 cards in the pack that can make him his hand.
That was amazing.
I know, out of nowhere.
What a massive overbet to the pot. And Finney needs a spade. Djiallis has him where he wants him. There's 8 spades in the deck, as a matter of fact. Anything but the king of spades. Crash cram, boom. Peter doesn't want to look. He's leaving the look into Pepe. I'm not sure who Pepe's rooting for. Here's the river. And it has done it.
Well done.
Cheers, mate.
Oh, cheers.
Great.
That last hand, the biggest bet Finney's made all night. He flopped the flush draw. Djiallis had but to call with a 2 pair. Spade didn't come. And Peter in the semis.
Some great poker played in a great spirit. Peter, congratulations. Pepe, you must be thrilled.
He's very thrilled.
It was a tough match all the way through.
It was a tough match. What can I say? I was just glad to be here and work my way through, try to play a tight game. I suppose the occasional bluff, but I think I gained enough respect to lay the odd bluff on. And I'd say thank you to this chap. That's all I can say, really. I don't know what else to say to you.
Dave, talk me through the heads up, because it was very cat and mouse for a long time there, then it suddenly exploded at the end.
There was really no escape from me. There's too much in the pot. You know, I tried it before trying to get free cards and then calling, so I thought I'd bet it and gamble with it. And I got caught. You know, sooner or later it had to become some kind of clash, and I had the better hand.
So there you have it. Peter, Jalous, and Pepe going forward to the semi-final stages. Join us next time at the partypoker.net European Open when more will pay to play.